what we're trying to bring to families with these courses is that you can do it.
Absolutely.
That it's possible, it's doable.
And it's an option. It's an option.
A good option.
A very good option. Do I truthfully think homeschooling is fun? If you make it fun. I've seen homeschoolers that do school at home, which is not necessarily the way that I like to do it 100% of the time. There are times where I realize I need to make it that way for certain subjects, but not for everything. It has to be fun or your kids are going to hate you.
I think that anything worth having is going to have its ups and downs. I think it's a lot more fun than public school. I feel like if my parents would have done this for me, there would have been a lot of different outcomes. Because I have a pretty great mom, and she would have really poured herself into this whole thing for us. But I think it can be fun or not fun. I think it depends on who you are, what's your family dynamic, and what you want to put into it. People need to understand when they're taking on a homeschool journey that there's some changes that'll have to be made. And that's okay. Change is not a bad thing. We're in a whole change right now. You're having to change the way you think about everything in life. Homeschooling gives you control, and control helps you to feel empowered. Once you find that you can have that control and you can be empowered, then you're going to find the freedom in that power.
I realize that there will be people who do have to face some truths about the disconnection that they've left between their kids and their kids' education, or their kids and being their kids' caregiver, not just sending them to school and being hands-off. There's a realization that they have to be hands-on. And once they get past that, like Diana was saying, then the fun will begin. But they have to realize that first. Like, I've been so out of touch with what's really happening. Now that my hands are in it and I can see what's happening, all right, so where do we go from here?
I just want to add to that, parents still do have a option in homeschooling to have a level of detachment if they want still, though.
That's true.
You can actually design your homeschooling however you want it. And that's the flexibility it gives you. If you want to still have a predominantly hands-off and I'm supporting whomever to educate my children, you still have that option in homeschooling.
I don't necessarily think that's hands-off, though. I think that's a supportive role. The hands-off role is teach them, make sure they come back home with everything they need to know.
But I think this was always the design of school. It should have been anyway.
That's true.
It's always should have been supportive. When my kids were in public school,
Absolutely.
It was a supportive role I played for the teachers. I didn't do this.
Right.
And I think that is a problem that we have in our society.
Yes.
That's a mindset that I think goes beyond homeschooling or public school.
I agree.
Some of the funny things I'm hearing from parents that have never homeschooled their children and are with their kids a lot now is that they're not sure if they like their kids. They didn't know my kid was that kid in the classroom.
Absolutely, that kid was that kid.
Absolutely.
The teacher told no lies.
Teachers aren't paid enough.
They're not.
They're not, but not because of what they have to do education.
But now that you see.
But the personalities. Yeah.
Yes. I think that parents will see that the requests for teachers have been absolutely absurd. Like, hey, can you check to make sure my kid wore deodorant today? I'm not sure that they have it. If you could just do daily checks, just to be sure. Like, some of the things that parents are requesting teachers to do are not good. Like, you should have done this before the kid. But no, I think they're realizing
parenting.
It is. It's parenting. Like, but there's a part, and I know teachers naturally want to parent these kids because that's what you do.
You grow a bond.
You grow those bonds, and there's that connection. So these are all your kids. However, it starts at home.
We're teachers in co-op classes, and
Right.
we grow a bond with our students.
Absolutely.
But I'm not checking them for deodorant.
No, I'm not.
There is a lot of differences when you're homeschooling different age groups. For instance, I enjoy so much preschool and kindergarten and probably first grade. There is so much fun in in the activities you get to do. It's a colorful time. I will say that the prep work is fun. It's tough. But then high school is a whole different type of prep. But at the same time, you can also see high school as more of a lot of independent work for that student. So this is where you're doing more of the management. And for us, we do a lot of outsourcing of our stuff just because I plan for them to be a little smarter than I am. So,
Oh, Lord.
that's the goal, right?
Well, yeah, it was the way you said it.
Oh, okay.
You're so smart. Stop it. Okay. Even if they met you at where you were at.
They better exceed me. That's my
We're
prayer
lifelong
weekly.
learners, though.
Okay.
We're lifelong learners. There's a clear difference between how I'm teaching my lower elementary kids than the way I teach a junior high age child. My daughter, she's in junior high, and my boys are lower elementary, and things are a little bit more fun. I want to say spicy, but we do more things. There's songs and dances and stuff like that, and sometimes she wants to be a part of it, so I'll let her join in, and we do those things. But at the same time, for her, there's much more independence that's involved, and so she, I'm not gonna sit there and read every little thing that you do. With the boys, they need that. With her, she doesn't need it. She still needs that interaction from me, just in a different way, in a supporting way, in a conversational way, so we can talk about these books. It's much more reading for her because she enjoys it. So the boys, it's me reading to them and then practicing reading to me, that kind of thing. With her, it's us reading together. I feel like there's a different level to each of them, but I enjoy both of them the same. Like,
Absolutely.
I love having those conversations with her. I love her, like, hey, just come on. Let's go read this, or hey, what did you think about such and such book? Or what did you think about this lesson? And her playing a more active role in what she wants to learn. I ask her, hey, which curriculum do you want? These are the ones that I'm looking at. With the boys, I'll say, hey, this is what we're doing. What do you think about this one?
Yes. One of the things that I find is the string, no matter what the grade level is, that there's a connection.
Mm-hmm.
There's a connection that you're making with your child every day. And in a family with multiple children, this is extremely important.
Absolutely.
I get to connect with each one of my kids on a daily basis and make sure I'm looking at them in their eyes and that they see me and I see them. And if there's something wrong, I'm going to actually see that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get that in public
You
school.
can't hide. Miracle was able to, for the year that we put Miracle in school, there's some things that we didn't know until it was all done.
Mm-hmm.
And I would ask her every day. And there were days where I saw that she was hurting, and she would have refused to tell me what it was. And it started to come out more. It was coming out, some of it, but once she got through it, it started coming out in droves. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, just some of the things that she experienced, like, well, when someone would say these things, and that kids would say certain things, she'd mention it, but some of the things I was like, why didn't you tell someone? She's like, I just didn't want to, you have to tell people these things. Yeah, but even though I would see her, it just wasn't enough time. When school was done, she would go, she'd come home, we chat for a little bit, and she had to jump right into homework because she had about 2 hours or so of homework before dinner. So I know for just that 1 year of experience from her being in school, it taught me so much about what I don't want. Like, I can't live like that. I don't want her to live like that. She was miserable.
And that was something that we experienced too, was when our kids was in public school, we were schooling, they're at school 6-7 hours a day. Some kids 8 hours a day, depending on what schools they're here, and then 2 to 4 hours of homework after school afterwards. And then that leaves for very little time. And for our family, with my second son, we were on side of him for those 4 hours, helping him through the homework because he was struggling. So it just didn't make sense to waste all that time. Why have my child away from me 6 hours and then have to do 4 hours of homework when in 4 hours I can have all the schoolwork done? We connected, and now we can go have some fun, or he can go do some sports, or he can go learn something different. We don't have to do it that way.
It just makes sense.
It really does. Concerning socialization, we have a wonderful course that we have set up about socialization and your student. And if you go to www.homeschoolific.com, we'll be able to show you exactly all the different ways you can socialize. However, let me be the first person to tell you that my kids experience more diverse crowds of people, more different times of talking and interacting. Their social life was so abundant after we became homeschoolers. It was amazing. And what was really great, they weren't stuck with just the same people in the same classes. They actually got to meet people that were different walks of life, different ages, that actually seemed to be more aligned with who they were. And they felt comfortable with being who they are around those people. So what we noticed in our homeschool groups, because she and I have been a part of a few homeschool groups together.
Yeah. We haven't left each other for what? 5 years.
Is that the kids were themselves
Like this.
They're like this. The kids never seemed to have to be like one another. They got to be themselves. And that was amazing. And that was really amazing to watch my kids who were in middle school, and then they went to homeschool, and they got to dress their quirky ways and wear their fedoras and all that different stuff.
And feel accepted.
Very much.
I want to make sure that parents get everything that they need from this course, or from our courses in general, because sometimes parents may have studied up and they know, and then you have people who are falling into this thing head first because they tripped in, not because they leaped in because they wanted to, it was because they had to go. Then they felt like this was their only choice. Well, now that they're here, I want them to get that, you know what, you can do this. I don't care what society is telling you. You are equipped. You've been teaching and training your kids, hopefully, for the last, I don't know how many years. You taught them to walk and talk, and those are not easy things, no matter how easy we may try and make it seem. Imagine going into a foreign country and not knowing the language. You've had to teach people that. You're training your kids all this time. Do not let anyone make you feel that you're not able to teach them. You've been teaching. Just keep going.
And I'd like to add that, one, homeschoolers are not weird. People are weird. And it doesn't matter if you're homeschooling.
That is true. I gave a look because I'm like, people, yes, thank you. That was the good way to say it.
Yeah.
Some people.
Has very little to do with whether or not you're homeschooled.
No.
Also, too, homeschooling looks like a lot of different ways. Never believe that your homeschooling has to look one way or even like the classroom. It's a variety of ways of looking. And then 3, I would like people to get out of this course that they are capable, that they can be inspired. I want veteran homeschoolers to also be able to come to us as well and find things that they can learn from. This learning for homeschooling is ongoing because your children grow.
Yes.
You may get new children. You may learn that they have a learning disability. You may learn that they are that they have a learning style that you are not equipped for. There is so many things to learn in this journey. And between the two of us, we've dealt with a lot of different situations, from even profoundly dyslexic children and how to school them. We're here to aid people, and we really want to help them know this and share our wealth of knowledge with the rest of the world.